You want to be a good communicator. Let's study the characteristics that makes a good communicator. What are the traits that when you see in an individual, you go, yeah, he's a very good communicator. Now, communication is not limited to the conjuring of intense vocabulary, mashing them into a sentence that leads to articulacy. No. Articulate individuals use rich but punchy words. Very rarely do you hear an articulate speaker using sesquipedalian phrases like very long phrases or very long, high, intense vocabularies. Yes, they might do it occasionally to flaunt their intellect, but majority of the time is using very interesting words, substituting small words for interesting counterparts. For instance, instead of going, I'm angry, that's what a kid would say. Say, I'm upset. I'm upset. Notice something very interesting. They mean the same thing, yet you sound more like an articulate speaker. One is more professional than the other. Another example, you can see it in Trump's latest video. The US recognizes only two genders, male and female. Conversely, the US have only two genders, male and female. Which one sounds more professional? Exactly. So communication is not limited to articulacy alone. Communication, one of the secrets is using rich and punchy words. Nobody wants to communicate like a professor. Why is this the case? Professors are very articulate, yet you do not want to adopt their mode of communication because it's too complex. They are using long phrases. Their communication is to portray intellect as opposed to understanding. So they prioritize looking intelligent than the understanding of their audience. The habitat has been deployed into the stratosphere, therefore making it to condense and increasing a high vapor of, it's too complex. And yes, there are situations where you find yourself, using high-end vocabularies is profitable, but 90% of the time, you are interacting with individuals who are not as intellectually advanced as you. The first thing I want every single NS fan to do is to start reading. You do not read necessarily to get information, which is good by the way. You also read to structure your vocabulary. You also read for knowledge. You can be the most articulate individual. If you have no idea on the subject, you would stutter. So read for knowledge. Also read to structure your sentence perfectly. Like the analogy I gave. I'm angry. I'm upset. Sound more professional. When you are a good communicator, you sound intelligent because you are intelligent, but it portrays confidence. People believe in you. They know you look like you know what you're talking about. If I say what's 2 plus 2 and you go 4, you look smart. Conversely, 2 plus 2, 4, you look dumb. So the reason stupidity and timidness has been ascribed to your character is because of filler words, which is number 2. Filler words are what timid individuals use because they fear silence. They rather entertain their listeners with any word than to keep silent or to pause to think. You are scared of the conversation being guided from you. If it's you I just diagnosed, it's most likely in an interaction with your friends. When it gets time for you to speak, you say every single thing in one stretch to avoid the conversation being guided from you or being interrupted by your friends. This signals insecurity. This doesn't signal confidence, which is creating the opposite of the desired effect. So after consuming tons of YouTube videos which says square your shoulder, chin up high, speak in an authoritative tone, your speech, your rate of speech is cancelling every single thing out. So the next time you walk into a room, walk with this consciousness. I deserve to be here. I deserve to speak. I deserve to be heard. And deliberately take your time to articulate your points. And one of the effects that makes this almost impossible for you mortals is you're always self-conscious. You're always self-aware, which creates anxiety. Anxiety is basically trying to portray another identity in order for people to perceive you in a certain way. So you're always gauging your performance whenever you speak. Am I doing well? Am I doing XYZ? Did what I say piss her off? Those kind of conversation would never lead you anywhere. And it's good to be self-aware because self-aware gives you feedback. You're watching yourself like a hawk. Why did I take this action? Why did I say it this way? Why did I lie? Why am I scared to tell the truth? Why didn't I approach that lady? What was I thinking in that moment? It's good because it's feedback that you learn more about yourself. You learn the pros and cons, which is the exception to the rule. I'm balancing out this point to save you the stress of commenting things and save myself the stress of responding to tons of comments. Which then begs the question, how can you be self-aware because you just astutely pointed out being self-aware is advantageous in the sense you can get feedback. Conversely, being self-aware distracts you. If you're too self-aware, someone walking into the room is enough to disrupt your conversation. Anything that moves, your eye catch sight, it distracts your conversation. So one of the things you do is to immerse yourself in whatever it is you are speaking. Whenever you speak, and I want you to practice this, speak, but speak as though you're talking from your mind. Don't speak while observing your environment. Speak thinking about what you want to say. It's when you get to a point when you're like me, there you can equally observe the environment as well as think from that consciousness. Then you can play both sides. However, at the infancy of your career, it is advisable for you to adopt the former principle. So read, pause, take time to think, get knowledge. Another thing I would like to introduce is cadence. Cadence in your speech. I define cadence as the deliberate breaking of words for understanding, not just for the communicator, but for the listener as well. Cadence is the kryptonite of timid individuals. Cadence portrays confidence. I deserve to speak. I deserve to be heard. When you break up your words, it draws the listener in. You anticipate my next word. It keeps you in suspense. You want to know what I would say next. So I don't just use cadence to emphasize this point. I do it because I practice what I preach. Are we clear on that? Awesome. I believe with these tips, it will improve your communication drastically. Improving your communication means you're more likable. You're more likable, you get more business opportunities. You get more business opportunities, you get more finances. Finances coupled with the fact that you're an amazing communicator, increases your social standing. An increment in your social standing gives you unlimited sexual access. Unlimited sexual access gives you unlimited women, unlimited models to create godlike children and repopulate the earth. You see how one subtle change redefined your whole existence. Redefining your whole existence also translates to the fact that every single person within your circumference benefits. That's how men are. We're like radiants. If your life improves, every single person out in your surrounding improves as a consequence. And as always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you when